KZ Radio Network proudly presents the show that brings all points of view together. There's the view from the left, the view from the right, the view from the middle, and then there's the broader view. Your take on any topic of discussion is welcome. Now, here are your hosts, Belle Salisbury and the lady who puts the Z in talk radio, Hey Z.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Broader View. This is your host, Hazy, and with me I have my wonderful co-host, Belle Salisbury. Good evening, Belle.
Good evening. How are you, dear? I'm
doing very well, thank you, other than frozen solid, since we have nothing but ice up here.
Cold in your neighborhood, huh?
Well, it's about, it's about 26. So, I mean, to you, that's going to be cold. You're living in the south somewhere.
That's cold in the neighborhood.
Sorry, I dropped my blanket on the floor. Yes, I am sitting here with a blanket wrapped around me. It's not that it's really cold. It's just that it's that damp cold. Kind of like in the heat, it's that damp humidity thing going on. It's just kind of the same effect up here.
Oh, I thought you it's that damn cold, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, damn cold.
As you were saying, damp.
Well, it's that damn cold thing, too. No, we had I think we had all four seasons yesterday. Because I woke up, well, it actually started on Saturday. It was about 34 degrees on Saturday, so things were kind of melting. Well, then it started raining. Then it froze. Then it warmed up again on Sunday. See, even Sherlock is complaining. So then that melted, and then it rained again, and then it froze, and then it snowed. And we had about 3.5 inches of snow. So I woke up this morning to concrete. So it was kind of ugly. Yeah.
Wow.
Sherlock, you didn't come and say hi? This is my dog, Sherlock, everybody. He'll go back and lay down in a second. So anyway, that was kind of a mess getting into work this morning, but we got there, and busy day at work, and everything is good. And other than that, it's life.
I heard was it Mississippi that got hit with over 15 tornadoes?
Yes. Hattiesburg actually hit. I guess there's a lot of damage in Hattiesburg that's going on. So really weird weather. Connecticut got, 45-something inches or something like that, where they're all still buried in. The pictures of the cars are incredible.
Yeah.
That they're all buried up to their bumpers, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a family of 4 that was rescued that was sitting in their car for something like 8 hours.
Yeah, and I heard somewhere where a little boy had actually succumbed to carbon monoxide because he was sitting in his father's car while father was shoveling the snow, which is typical. Most kids want to be out helping dad shovel snow. But unfortunately, the exhaust pipe was covered.
Plugged.
It was
plugged.
plugged.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I just felt so sad for the family.
I know. And people don't realize, when they're not used to it. Well, up here in the Midwest and, Northeast and Northwest, they're kind of used to these freak snowstorms. But they forget what the safety measures are. We're reminded every every fall about having your winter survival gear in your car. And it's true. You actually do need a winter survival kit. And a lot of people think putting it in their trunk is going to do it. No. It's got to be in the car. Because in the trunk, unless you can gain access to your trunk from the inside of your car, it's not going to do you any good. Because I have seen where people have gone into ditches and gone into banks, and their cars are completely covered.
Yeah,
and
you can't get to the trunk.
You can't get to them. And if you can't get out of your doors and windows, you're not going to get to your trunk. So, same thing in the summer. There's a summer survival kit.
You know what it is, I think, is that so many of us that are used to that type of inclement weather, we tend to get smug about it. We tend to think, lived through it, been there, done that, ain't nothing. You people are worrying for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those freakazoid things that happen that will bite you in the butt.
Yeah. Yep. We get complacent. Mm-hmm. Very complacent, and that's not a good thing. Because it means you get complacent is when it's going to happen on you.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. But summer's the same way, you know?
Yeah,
I know.
it is.
Yeah, I mean, people drive around in the summertime without summer safety gear. For example, people don't think of having a window punch in their car. If you live by lakes or ravines or ponds or whatever, if you don't have a window punch and you, for some reason, lose control and go into the water, that's the only way you're going to get out.
That's scary. Don't even talk about that.
I know, but people don't think about it. We had one that was up here, and, you know, she was trying to get out, and she thought her key could do it. A key isn't going to do it. A key is not going to punch out your window.
No, not at all.
You have to get a window. I have one in my glove compartment. Just because, you know.
Now, how does that work, a window punch?
It looks like it's a rod. It is pretty heavy, and it's got a dull point on the end of it, and there's two ways that you can do it. There's one that has like a hammerhead to it, so it's the two pieces with a spring in it, and you put it up against the window, and you pull the trigger back, and you snap it, and the little, you know, punch in the front punches out the window. It basically cracks the window. Right. It doesn't work on a windshield, but it's going to work on the side windows. The other one, I mean, you can do a hammer, but it can't be a flat edge. It has to be a pointed edge.
Something that'll make a hole.
Right. And so then what will happen is the pressure will bust the window open. But if you're underwater, that's a whole different subject.
No
if you're underwater,
kidding.
You can't punch your window out because the gush will come in quicker than your car can handle. So, I mean, there's lots of ways to do it.
Wouldn't it?
What's that?
Make it sink a lot faster.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've got...
It's a phobia of mine. I would never want to go by means of being stuck in my car and drown.
No. Nope. It's scary. I mean, I remember driving with my mom when I was little. And, okay, my mom wasn't the best driver. She's the kind of person that drove onto the runway of an airport. Yes, she did. And she drove onto a dock that collapsed, and we went into the water. But thankfully, it wasn't so deep that it submerged the car. We were able to get out of it. And back then, you had roll-down windows. She could roll down the window and get out. Nowadays, everything is electronic.
Yeah.
If the water gets to the electronics, that window's not going to open. So I always drive my car with my front two windows cracked.
No kidding. So somebody's asking in the chat room, what do you do if you're already underwater?
What you do, there's two different ways that you can do it. Well, what you have to do is you have to wait until the car is completely, and I'm trying to remember this. You have to wait until the car is completely submerged and when everything levels off. Then you can punch your window out and the water will just kind of flow in. It won't like gush in. And then when the water levels off, I mean, you have to hold your breath. When the car fills up with water and everything levels off, then you go out the window and you go up. Follow the bubbles is the number one key. But you have to wait until the water levels everything off.
Okay. My guy just said, well, I know where my bubbles would be coming from. That
would be, but they're going to go the same direction. So, but it's scary. It's scary. And the other key, too, is do not take off your seatbelt until everything is leveled off. Until the car is sunk. And I actually took a class on this. We didn't go underwater, but we took a class on it. What's that?
I said it just gives me the chills.
It does. It's scary. If you go to YouTube and you watch water collision, I think it's called Water Collision or How to Escape Out of a Submerged Car.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches you how to do that. And there are actually classes up here just because we have so many lakes. And I took a defensive driving course, and I used to date a guy who taught defensive driving. So, but it's wild. Of course, up here now, with everything frozen, we have cars that go who don't think that the ice, they think they can cross the lake in their car. And it just has not been cold enough. And there was a case here, I think it was New Year's weekend, where these parents were driving across the lake to get to their home, and their car sunk, and they went through the ice, and everybody got out but their 8-month-old baby.
Oh.
So, I mean, and there's another one that was here, I think it was in Wisconsin, it was here in Minnesota, it was on Lake Minnetonka, where a young man was driving his grandmother on a snowmobile to go and look at the houses, and they sunk, and they both lost their lives. So people just don't pay attention.
Well, up north, they have the ice fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets out there and they build little huts on the ice. And, And the first time I ever saw that, I remember driving across the bridge, looking over and seeing these people, I called them bozos, out on the ice with their trucks parked on the ice.
You can do that. You can do that.
Huts.
Yeah, you can do that up here. We do it up here. It's huge up here.
And I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah, but what they don't do is they don't pay attention to the climate. It has to be, I want to say there's differences of body weight versus a fishing house weight versus a car versus an SUV versus, a big truck. And I want to say that for an average size truck, the ice has to be 2 feet thick. And then it will sustain it. But the houses have to be a certain number of feet away from each other. There are people who live in ice houses all winter long. That they're heated, they have electricity. There's some beautiful homes that are out on the ice.
Think if they're heated and everything, my goodness, glaciers. I mean, wouldn't the heat melt the ice?
No, because what it does is they're built up on like a platform. So there's air that goes underneath it. So there's a separation between the heated part of the cabin versus the ice.
Gotcha. I don't know. I'll stick to my warm weather climate. My feet planted on the ground.
I know. I'm not one to go. I know my relatives used to go winter camping. I can't even imagine doing that. I can't imagine going out in a tent with a sleeping bag and a little Coleman lantern and camping out in the winter, but I know people who do it.
Yeah, no, that's beyond what I'm willing to do.
Yeah. No, it's a huge business up here. I mean, it's, the ice, I don't think the ice has ever been, this winter has been frozen enough to, well, I take it back because there are a bunch of ice houses up on Lake Minnetonka, but when you get into the shallow ends, when you get into the canals that go under the bridges, those are all built up, so those aren't as deep. So, of course, the ice isn't going to be as thick. But, that's what the DNR for. The DNR is the one who guides these people out where they need to go and where they should and shouldn't go. It's these, pardon my language, but these morons who don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. So I'm trying to think, since the winter began, I think we've had 16 to 18 cars that have gone submerged.
Isn't that scary? My goodness.
I know. That's why I kind of like flat ground.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I feel safer that way. Yeah. Oh, and the polar plunges. That's another big thing. In fact, they go on every weekend.
Now, all I got to say to that is, what are you people thinking?
I couldn't even imagine.
What are you thinking?
I know, but it's huge.